Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Turf Today, presented by our good friends at Toro. Count on it. We appreciate you stopping by, everyone. My name is Adam Kershane. I'm joined by my good friend, Brian Laurent. Today we bring you an awesome interview with James Bledge, who is the links manager over at the Royal Liverpool in Hoylake, England, which, yes, was the host of the 151st Open Championship last year. It's a great interview, lots of awesome stuff with him. He's one of those guys, we just let him talk, and he just keeps on going with amazing stories and insights and everything from the golf course. Sit back, relax, enjoy this episode. I'm going to throw it on down to Brian right now. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning.
Where are we today?
We are back in Texas, and I, as you see, don't have my normal setup, so
Oh, we
hopefully
didn't travel with the mic today.
did not. I tried to travel light this trip, so didn't do. I just did carry-ons today and didn't have room for the whole setup. So hopefully I sound okay for you.
Yeah, definitely. At least you got the headphones on. It's better than just being on the
Yeah,
computer.
yeah. And somehow I end up with the room right next to like the ventilation unit for the HVAC, so there's a loud humming sound right behind me, which is no bueno.
Yeah, no. That takes away from your view too, eh? You open the curtains and it's just like AC.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's like I booked this side because normally I'm on the other side looking out over they've got a little common area with a big pond and walking paths and all sorts of stuff. Well, yeah, I wonder what the other side looks like. And got the room right next to the HVAC unit. So it's
Nice.
great. So I couldn't set up on my desk over here. I set up I've got my computer propped up on my bed and right in here with the beautiful backdrop. You never know what kind of backdrop I'm gonna have. This week
Exactly.
is the thermostat. It's lovely.
Yes.
It's off so the AC doesn't start kicking on in the room.
There you go. And if the
Yeah,
lady, the cleaning lady comes in with fresh towels, we'll see her come in right behind you there.
that's it. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, a little housekeeping on the
Yeah.
door. Yep.
We dropped that episode this morning. I don't know if you had a chance to go through and listen to it, but I edited the part where we flip from the first recording to the second recording. I played like that Simpsons technical difficulties thing, and and then you come right in. You're like, "All right, yeah, we had some technical difficulties. Hopefully, Adam will be back with us." So just we turned a negative into a positive there for sure.
That's good.
Yeah,
No, I haven't had a chance.
you'll have to listen to that part.
Yeah, I will. I definitely will. I've been enjoying going back and listening to them and just kind of figure it out, critiquing ourselves and figuring out, ways to improve and whatnot. So they've been fun to listen to
Nice.
and listen to the stories that I don't remember
Yeah.
them talking about too. It's like, oh shoot, that was great.
Yeah, sometimes you're trying to think of the next question and you miss something they say, and then when you listen to it, you're like, "Oh, okay, that's how it all came together." Nice. I like it.
Yeah, no, it was good. Oh, good. I can't wait to listen to it.
I think Mike's is going to be awesome. Just I did a really good listen through, and man, he speaks so well, and just he has so much energy. You can tell he speaks with a smile on his face, and he really has a lot of passion and really cares about helping people. So it's
Yeah,
definitely a good one. I hope we get a lot of people that get to know his story and get to kind of find out about him through that.
yeah. Like I said, I consider him the most interesting man in turf. He's been everywhere, knows a lot of people.
Hmm.
He's got some great stories. So, and a big following internationally.
International man of mystery.
International stud.
Yes.
That was the best.
That was good. He should have that on a business card or on a hat or
Uh,
something, like that should just be how he's known. Maybe we can keep
yeah,
that going now.
yeah, absolutely. I'll see if I can get a sign made for him or something he can hang back there on his wall. Was a little worried about people reaching out to him to try and get interns, but
Oh yeah.
hopefully it helps inspire some people to reach out to him that want to travel.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
one regret I have in life for sure is graduating and just being in such a rush to get a job. I wish I would have taken a year at least just to go experience some things, but now I get to do that. I get
I
to
hope
do
there's
that
more
now.
of that, right? I hope there's more
Yeah,
light shed on that kind of stuff and more stories about people coming to the industry late and taking their time and yeah, because if you're going to be a superintendent at a golf course for a long time, you may as well make sure you're ready and you're in the right spot.
yep, yeah. You learn so much from traveling around and being involved in different programs and seeing different ways to essentially accomplish the same mission. So yeah, certainly worthwhile to go explore. I know Phil talked that he doesn't really like guys bouncing around, but I think once someone's new to the industry, it does. It takes a little while to kind of figure out what you are going to aspire to, what level you want to be at, and to be able to kind of experience it all really helps bring that to light. So yeah, I hope more kids can see what Mike did and take advantage of potentially an opportunity to travel overseas and just kind of explore and enjoy life. You're only young once, and then you have kids and mortgages, right?
Exactly. And it's funny how as you get older, you draw on those experiences so much. So if you can go out and get some experience, meet some new people, work in different courses, learn some different things, every golf course you go to, they do things a little bit differently. So if you can pick bits and pieces from everywhere you go, you're going to have a pretty full toolbox by the time you do start your first job or your big superintendent job. There's no rush, absolutely no rush
Yep.
in this industry.
No, absolutely not.
So today we're staying overseas. I guess I shouldn't say staying overseas because Mike was in the States, but we are speaking with another major name in our industry, James Bledge from the Royal Liverpool. Was the host of the 151st Open Championship last year. So we're very excited to talk to him today.
Yeah, it'll be great. Looking at his questionnaire, he's got some great stories to talk about. So can't wait to dive in.
Yeah, and I was listening to the Joe Galati episode, Talking Greenkeeper. He did, I think it was 3 years ago. A very down to earth guy, just one of the boys. So it's he'll be one of those guys we can kind of open up a little bit and chat to about a lot of different things.
Great. If I start sweating, man, don't you can edit that out for the video stuff, man. It's going to be 100 degrees down here, and I turned the AC off, so we didn't get that in the background.
Yeah. Did Brian just change his shirt mid pod?
I know, right? Yeah. Yeah. Cue the Simpsons music again, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because we're in different extremes. We have the air conditioning going in our house, which means the basement's freezing cold. So I actually have a blanket. I have a blanket on my lap right now.
That's beautiful.
We're at opposite ends of the spectrum right now.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Oh, it's getting steamy. So how's everything been in your world?
Things have been good. Actually went to a couple golf
Yeah,
courses this past weekend, which was awesome.
good.
Got to see a couple local courses, and man, I don't know about down where you are, but I mean everything around here has been looking really good this year. I don't know if it was just it had to do with our spring and not having a very deep freeze, but the foliage, man, everywhere you go, the golf courses are looking really nice and very grown in, and guys are very healthy. So it's been a good year for that. So it's nice to see.
No, things have been pretty good. Just was at Oakland Hills last week for that US Junior, and holy moly, did they have that golf course just primed for the junior. I didn't get to catch any coverage on TV, but I'm sure it was absolutely sparkling.
Yeah, from what I saw, just the definition of the lines and having that Zamboni cut up the fairway and everything, like it's just
Yeah.
beautiful.
That was funny. We had the conversation before we talked to Phil about the courtesy cut or the step cut or
Hmm.
whatever, and got there, and that was the first thing I noticed. He didn't have that intermediate cut from fairway to rough. He went straight definition fairway to rough. It was pretty cool. I'm like, oh man, we just talked about that. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's funny how that stuff pops up.
Yeah.
Turf Today is proudly brought to you by Toro, the only brand with a full line of equipment and irrigation products to keep your golf course in top condition. Toro is serious about research and development, and they're always out there listening to superintendents so they can create products that help you solve your biggest challenges. When it comes to local service and support, their distributor network is second to none. See how Toro is always solving and always evolving at toro.com.
Are we there now?
Ah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Got it. Got
Good
it.
God.
Winner, winner.
I have
James, how
no
you
idea.
doing?
Not bad. How are you guys?
We're doing well,
Great.
thanks. Thanks so much for joining us today and taking the time. I know we got a little bit of a time difference, so appreciate you making the effort to get on here with us.
No, it's easy enough for me at the end of the day, and I think it's one of the podcasts I've never been on, so I was having a look through the guys that you've had on in the past, and it's pretty cool. So, uh, really happy to be one of them. Even though my story's maybe not quite as interesting as it was a year ago, but we'll still have plenty of stories for you.
Looks like you've got plenty to talk about for sure. I was going to say you must do this a lot. You've got the whole setup there. You had the microphone with the whole screen in front of it and everything.
Yeah, I think that was the problem why it wasn't working. I do a podcast with my friend Sam, which I've been doing for a few years now. So hence the reason why we have this gear, even though it's not the best. It gets us by.
It's perfect. Whatever gets the job done, that's great.
Whereabouts are you guys?
I'm up in Ottawa, Canada. So I'm representing Canada right now, of the three different countries we have on here.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm based out of Columbus, Ohio, but I tend to be traveling every week, so I'm usually in a different spot. Right now, I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Ah, nice, good. So it'd be quite hot there.
Very hot, very hot. So what do you guys, you're 5 hours difference, I think. What is it?
It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So the
Three.
team left work an hour ago, and the weather's quite nice here. I think my weather station says it's 23 degrees and sunny, 10 mile an hour wind. So it's as good as a summer's day as you'd get here in Britain. And the weather this year has been atrocious.
Oh,
All,
really?
all summer, grey skies. Very fairly easy to manage turf this year because it's been wet and warm. So I mean the turf quality is brilliant, but it's not looking like a links course at all just now.
Well, had we been talking to you a year ago, we'd probably get into a lot of the Open Championship stuff, which we definitely will. But let us know right now just about what you guys are working on in your course.
So it's actually quite monotonous just now. We're just doing bog standard cutting, refining, top dressing, and just set up. It's quite, I don't know how to put this. It's pretty much the easy street just now, really, in comparison to what we've been doing. There's no massive project work. Myself, I've been doing a lot of planning. As you can see from behind me here, I don't know if this goes out on film or if it's just audio. Hopefully for your listeners, it's just audio, so you don't have to look at me. But uh, I do a lot of planning, so I've had a lot of meetings with our ecology governing bodies for the work we're going to be doing in the future, financial meetings, how we're spending the money next year, big plans and big planning to take us beyond 2030. And I think that's my kind of job in a nutshell recently. I spend the mornings uh, doing range setup, and we've got the robots in just now that we use Husqvarna robots. So uh, I've been looking after the girls every morning and that, and doing helping with the course setup, and then in the afternoon kind of do meetings and catch up with everything else. So, but that'll go on until about September, and then that's when we start our project work. So until then, it's just there's nothing too stressful. We don't have any major competitions. The course I feel is set up well enough to high-end tournament standard every day. I mean, I would honestly think we'd be a week away from hosting an Open Championship at any minute just now. That's the kind of the standard of what the guys have got the course set up to. A really good team that have got a great attention to detail, and we're very lucky that way with the resources we've got with staff and yeah, I mean, for anything we can just turn it on, which is what you would expect if you come to play Royal Liverpool.
You mentioned the meetings and whatnot that you have. What's kind of your chain of command over there? I know, over here you get a lot of GMs or greens committees and whatnot. What's your makeup over there?
So I'm the luckiest guy alive when it comes to makeup because the structure we have at Oily, because we have a secretary that looks after the clubhouse and the members, and myself that looks after the course, and we sit at the top, and he answers to a chairman, and I answer to the Greens chairman. My Greens chairman, Chris Peterson, who I'll send this to, I hope he does listen to it because he's just taken over and he's starting to kind of learn the ropes about our job. But and I'm not just saying that because he will probably hopefully listen, but he's the best guy. And he's so relaxed. I mean, he doesn't even probably like me to call him boss kind of thing. He's not like that. He's a doctor, so he's a volunteer. So by trade, he doesn't really know much about turf, and I'm trying to kind of educate him in it, as it were. But he's R&A rules, so he knows golf really well. He knows how golf courses should be set up. So we work together well on that. He's a great listener. He's relaxed. So I've got a 10 out of 10 boss, which is really nice. So I kind of, because of Chris's stance and how he likes to manage us, I've got his trust and I wouldn't kind of betray that. I work hard for him in the club, but I manage myself really. I'm my own kind of hardest critic, so I don't really need managed to an extent. I know the kind of boundaries. I've done this for long enough to know how not to cross the line and how to act and what to do. So yeah, I'm in a really fortunate position with that.
It's fantastic to see you've come so far into an area that you've really enjoy, and obviously being able to host such a big tournament like that last year is amazing. The cool thing about our show is we really like to be kind of open and honest with everybody and let people that come on tell their stories and stuff. So we'd love for you to kind of dig in and tell everybody, sort of the story of James Bledge and how he came to be course manager or links manager out at the Royal Liverpool.
Excellent. So when I was a young boy in my early teens, loved playing golf, and I loved to wander up to my course back then, which was called Dumfries and Galloway Golf Club. Very low budget, modest parkland golf course in the southwest of Scotland. But back in the days then, I mean, I'm 44 now, and when I was like 14, 15, you couldn't get in a golf club then. There was big waiting lists because it was a big boom. Couldn't join that club no matter how much I wanted to. And I used to sit on the stile, which is like a bit of wood across a fence, and watch the golfers go by. And then when they were all back past on a Sunday, I would always jump across and look for golf balls. And I kind of longed to be a member of that golf club. And I never managed to get in. And I played all my golf at Lockerbie, which you'll have heard of Lockerbie for the wrong reasons, for the Lockerbie disaster. So that's where I played my golf. Yeah, I managed to get an apprentice job at Dumfries and Galloway, and I spent 8 years there, 4 years as an assistant, and 4 years as deputy. And then I went to college to get more educated. And then I thought, well, I'm going to travel a little bit across to Europe and see some more, get some more life experience. And I went and worked in Norway and Sweden. I worked at King's Barnes up in Fife, which you'll have heard of, famous Kyle Phillips course. That was my first taste of links golf. I'll actually kind of take you back for a second. When I didn't do too well at my exams at school, I went to the careers advisory officer, and she would like kind of help you, put you on the right track as to what you can do in your life. And she said to me, and this is no word of a lie, and people laugh when I tell them this, but she had a computer in front of her, and she said, "What do you like doing?" And I says, "Well, I love farming because I used to work on a farm when I was young, and I love tractors, and I love golf." So she typed in farming, enter, golf, enter, and then equals, and it came up greenkeeping. So, I mean, when you think about it, it's pretty right, isn't it? I live on site. I mean, I'm speaking to you now from my office, which is attached to the house, which the greenkeeper sheds are 30 yards that way, and I'm right in the middle of the golf course. So I actually feel like a farmer now because I'm here all the time and I don't have work hours. So I pretty much have got my dream job when it comes to that because I did always want to be a farmer and I love golf. So that career advisor officer was really, I've got a lot to thank her for. But I got my first taste of links golf at King's Barnes, which is one of the greatest places I've ever worked. Absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's huge amongst the North American golf community. I mean, it's packed out every single day, and Americans love it, especially being up in Fife, the home of golf and stuff. And then I got my first kind of big break of management experience when I went across to Sweden and helped finish off the PGA National Sweden, where we used to host the Scandinavian Masters. And then I met my wife. She's Scottish as well, from the same town. Moved back to Great Britain from then, and it was during the financial crash, and we helped to build a golf course called G West, which is west of Gleneagles, for Scotland's richest man who owns Highland Spring, which is a bottled water company. So that course, I don't know, you'll heard the David McClay Kids, obviously, because Abandoned Dunes, etc. So it's a David McClay Kid design. You need to Google this place, anyone that's listening, G West. Unfinished still, after, I don't know, 20 years almost now. They've never opened it. It's the most remarkable golf course you've ever seen, but they never opened it for financial reasons because they wanted to hold on to it so they could get more money for housing. So we have a £5 million build golf course of exceptional design, beautiful heather-lined fairways, unreal topography. I think there's only a dozen people that's played it, of which I was one when I've jumped to deer fencing to get on.
Nice.
I mean, it's just jaw-dropping. I'd love your listeners to have a look at this place and see what a crying shame that a golf course like that. I mean, a 19 million pound clubhouse as well that looks
Oh my
uh,
goodness.
it looks unreal, and it's just gone to rack and ruin now. So yeah, we did that, and then I just when you work on a golf course and don't get any golfer feedback because no one's playing it, and they keep promising you it's going to open and open, and it never ever does. And you guys, you must have heard of Lee Strutt. He's a really good friend of mine. Lee, it was just left Cabot in Canada. So
Mhm.
Lee was my boss there. So he was the man in charge at G West. And I've got Lee to thank for where I am in my career because he kicked my backside up and down that golf course to kind of shape me into a better person and a better greenkeeper and someone that was a bit harder and someone who's a bit more knowledgeable. So he's Lee's one of my mentors, and it came to a point where that place wasn't going anywhere. So I was then offered the deputy course manager's job at Royal Cinque Ports down beside Royal St George's and Princes in Kent, where I was there for 9 years, of which 7 I was course and estates manager. And that's where I really cut my teeth. That's where I learned how to be proper greenkeeper, proper manager, proper person, think. And then when this job came up, I mean, I only felt like I left Deal, as it's affectionately named, like this is Hoylake and Royal Liverpool, Royal St Ports is Deal. I only left because I felt like that golf course deserved a lot more than what it was getting, and it was always we were always promised bigger championships. We always wanted the Walker Cup, the ladies, the seniors. The course deserves it tenfold, and it always really frustrated me that we kept on getting fobbed off there. And this came up, and I thought, it's closer to home. It's a new challenge. It's a new city. You're only here once. It might not work out, but big risks, big rewards. So I approached Jen, my wife, about it, and Jen would go to me to Timbuktu if I said. She's very supportive, and we went for it, and we were lucky to get it. And then we moved the kids up. So I've got 2 boys, Jesse and Fletcher. They're 6 and 9, and they're both born in southeast Kent in England. So Scottish parents, born in Margate, living in Liverpool. So you can imagine what their accents are like. I can't even explain to you. So yeah, we moved up here, and to work here is a dream. It's a jaw-dropping sight. The members are the same as what they were at Royal Cinque Ports. The most respectful, fun, easygoing membership. No snobbery at this club. Best clubhouse in world golf. Fact. Unreal site. Unbelievable views. And the course has got potential. I mean, we're quite kind of harsh on it at times because I see how much it could do, but like we're firing kind of 7.5, 8 out of 10 a lot of the time, and I'm confident I can deliver a 9 or a 10 by the time I pack up here or they pack me up. But it's we've had a lot of hard times in my first few years, but I don't think you get anything from not having hard times. And like I've had to learn a lot about my team as they've had to kind of adapt to the way I work as well. And some things have gone down well, some things haven't, but we've worked together, and we're a great team now, and we've got through a lot of hard times. And I'm on a nice place just now, and I feel very fortunate, especially to live on a golf course in the middle. I mean, what a dream, especially for a lot of you Americans, North American guys that come across here. And imagine you tell people you live in a golf course when you're a golf fanatic, and you live right in the middle of an open golf course. How cool is that? 8 o'clock at night. I'm just going to go out and play a few holes. You just jump on, play. The sun's coming down. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Lots to unpack on that background there, James. There's pretty cool backstory. The one thing you mentioned, it's kind of funny. Adam and I were talking about it before you even jumped on. You mentioned you bounced around and you traveled a little bit when you were younger. How much do you attribute your success to those life skills maybe learned when you went out and explored different parts of the world?
Absolutely everything. I wouldn't be here if that wasn't the case. If I just stayed at Dumfries and Galloway Golf Club, A, for a start, you wouldn't have the skill set to even have a sniff a job like this. And B, Like, I mean, you wouldn't have the confidence, you wouldn't have the contacts, and you maybe even wouldn't have the notion to want to do it because you would just get so comfortable at somewhere like that and stuck in your kind of own little town. It's the longer you stay somewhere, the harder it is to leave. I would implore everyone to get out, get as much experience as you can. I mean, I worked on a links, a heathland, a parkland. I worked on low budget, high budget, uh, different experience, different countries, different cultures, do volunteering, do tournament experience. I kind of have a rule which annoys my wife at times. Now she don't. I'm just joking. She's very supportive. But, I try not to say no to things. You know, I try and say yes to everything, and then worry about the consequence afterwards. Because, as I say, you're not here that long, and I've experienced so much with saying yes to things like trips or tournament experience, and I mean, the amount of people you know because of that is just it's superb. It really is. But yeah, I think that's the absolute key is just getting out of your comfort zone and getting around as much as you can.
The experience thing is really big, and earlier you touched on the fact that you had to make a lot of mistakes and do things the wrong way to learn, and being open and honest about that stuff is big because we can't get better unless we make mistakes. And sometimes traveling around learning about different ways things are done or different plans of action that are at different golf courses can really pay off. When you look at business and things like that, they always talk about diversifying your portfolio and being able to, have more skills and stuff. So the more you can pick up in this industry, the better, and then, the more it's going to help you. So I really appreciate you telling everybody about that. And I'd love to ask you
Mm.
about living on the golf course because that's different, right? We do talk to some people that live on the course and love it, and some people live on the course and hate it and say that they couldn't do it. So I'd love to hear about the good and the bad of being right there on the farm.
So I'll start with the bad. I could actually show you quickly, So this is my office here. The office door comes right, and this is just how close I actually am. This is probably no good for a podcast, but for your listeners. But that's my front door there, and there's the sheds.
Oh
I mean, that's how
Oh,
wow.
close we
wow.
are. Yeah. So I mean, it's right beside it. But the bad thing is uh, if you are having like an issue with a member of staff or whatever, you cannot separate home life and work life from that. I mean, uh, but luckily that doesn't happen often. But what's happening a lot just now during school holidays is I'm quite often have a meeting in here, or we're meeting some people at the front, and Jenny's having a domestic with the kids next door because they're acting up. So you can't trying to when the kids are like that, which all kids are,
Oh yeah.
then it's very difficult. And you know what? It is what it is. I think you just kind of laugh it off. And my team are they're good with the kids and stuff. And luckily, me and Jen don't fall out like biblically, or there's never any shouting. You wouldn't be able to if you were in that kind of relationship where we're having any domestics, then you everyone would know about it. So that's one thing. So like my staff know everything about me, and you can't hide that. The other bad thing, which is sometimes a good thing as well, is if there's ever, especially at this time of year when there's summer holidays, there's kids on the course at night, they try and set fire to things if they're having barbecues or they're running about in the fairways. I've got that many spies around the golf course and houses that I've met. They'll phone you up and have to go out and deal with it. But I suppose it's a good thing because if I wasn't here, then I would worry more if I had to come across town. So that's really the only negative. I mean, the positives is if the boys text me at night saying, "Oh, Bledge, can I have this date off holiday? I can come in here, I can change it on the rota. If I want to, if I go out at night with the pogo or the moisture meter, I can check the greens and come and change the irrigation cycles. If I can play a few holes, I might come in and change this whole board behind me to say, oh, greens were a bit woolly tonight, right? Maybe we change this about and give them a groom tomorrow, or we can do some verti cutting. And you can do that instantly. I know we have these modern systems of turf keeper or ground to control, the software you can use. But for me, I mean, I love technology. I use a lot of technology, which we can talk about later. But I love the old school. I mean, this is a whiteboard behind me with magnets on it that I move up and down, like a football manager. I have little blue magnets for days holidays and green ones for half days. And it's right next to my house, so I can change it and then it's off my mind. And as I said, I don't work hours. I do what suits me, what suits the course. It works for both of us. The club do well out of it, and I do well out of it because they get a lot extra from me because I'm always here. It's easy for me to go up to the clubhouse for meetings. It's easy for me to meet people on site that can only do hours outside of work, which quite often is the case. But most of all, I mean, I love my job, and sometimes I'll actually think, we've got this mooring on demo. I'm just going to go out and have a bash, or go out and do a wee bit of watering at night or something like that. Or it's just quite nice to be able to do that. And also the biggest one, no neighbours, which is great. I don't have
Yes.
to, and I play guitar as well, so especially in the winter, I mean, I can have my amp up fairly loud, and actually not there's never an issue. And we've had some good parties as well, Jen and I, and we've never had any complaints because no, there's no one to complain, which is great.
Does she make you take the amp and guitar over into the maintenance barn to really crank it up so you're not doing it in the house?
Yeah, I thought about that the other day. Jen's totally, she loves having, I've got the guitars all around my house because I've got a nice wee collection. She said when we moved here, you need to put the guitars up because we had them up in our last place. But my mechanic's a good keyboard player, so he says, look, the acoustics in the shed are unreal. So I've got a lovely Fender amp, so I'm gonna take it across there one night and get it cranked up. But I don't think I could get past 5 or 6 because it's so loud. But I'm up for that. Yeah, I actually seen a really cool video the other day. I don't know if I think he's the irrigation tech or the Pinehurst mechanic maybe that Graham Roberts worked with that you had on. I watched a video the other day of him and his guitar collection. So me and him need to hook up. I think he'd be my best workmate ever.
You guys wouldn't get any work done.
That's the point.
My
Yeah.
father was a superintendent. We lived on the golf course as well, and I always remember having to kind of be quiet. I couldn't play basketball during certain times because people were playing and all that. Do your kids have any of those issues there at home where they have to kind of be quiet outside or anything?
Only when we're out in the course, and they're actually quite good. They've kind of learned that now because I take them out quite a lot. They'll come out at night with me, and I'll have them doing wee things, and they're actually grand, chase each other about screaming and stuff. But like, as I say, the people here are quite chilled. There's no real issue. But now the kids they're just learning how to ride bikes, so they ride their bikes around the tar road and stuff. And they're all right here. And I think the boys, I mean, what an amazing, they don't know how lucky they are. That's the thing, because they've not known any better. But imagine growing up here. Unbelievable, isn't it? Really, like it really is. So I'm very lucky. I just wish they
Uh,
knew it a
they'll
bit more, but
they'll look back on it and realize how lucky they were at some point for sure.
I can see the day where they come, if we stay here this long, if they come out and do morning work, rating bunkers or whatever. I have got 4 kids just now that help us at weekends that are like 17, 18-year-old. And they're brilliant lads, really valuable part of the team. And I think it's been the absolute one of the best things we've done here is the biggest change. It's just to get summer help in and get lads in to relieve the pressure, and it's really paid off dividends.
That's awesome. Well, obviously, a big reason why we wanted to bring you on here today, James, is to talk about last year's Open Championship. So tell us about, finding out about the tournament all the way until taking down the grandstands after it was done.
But when I got the job, it was a known, and that was kind of the surprise that it came up. Uh, so I wouldn't have went for that otherwise. Really, I think the Open was a big draw for me. I wanted to challenge myself on the biggest scale. I mean, it's the biggest golf championship in the world, and it was. I think from the second I put in for the job, I was always quite anxious and nervous about hosting it. I'd hosted final open qualifying tournaments and championships and amateur championships and boys amateurs, but never something of this scale. So, but as I say, it's all in the planning and the preparation. And from the very day that I got the job, I started making spreadsheets as to who the volunteer team was going to be, potential jobs, how we'd be doing it, routines, who would be doing sponsoring the uniform, where the guys would be staying, what we'd need. Would we need joiners, electricians for this? What else? And just making loads and loads of notes. And I had everything nailed down, even kind of in my first 6 months probably. It was all planned well out. And when you started here, the first meetings, we had loads of meetings with the R&A, and they would give you books on all the infrastructure areas they needed cleared around the course for where all the tented village was going, and spectator walkways. So there was numerous walks. And the biggest thing about the Open, and I don't ever want anyone to think, oh wow, open course manager, you must be good. But it's not like that at all, because and I'm not just saying this, but like it is a team thing. The R&A are a huge help. Like, it could not have done it without them, could not have done it with all the volunteers. I was just a small part of it, and I was lucky enough to kind of be the person that was in charge of it. I don't make all the final decisions. We all in the weeks running up to the championship, my agronomist, Alistair Beggs, he was like the kind of, at the time, he was the main R&A agronomist, one of the most experienced agronomists in Britain, very well respected. He was the Hoylake captain in 2014 when they handed the claret jug to Rory. So bit of a legend round here, and ended up, well, me and Ali are great friends. What a brilliant person to have as your agronomist. And we walked the course tirelessly, kept in touch with him all the time. And he was a brilliant help. And we made all our decisions together. I would come to him and say, this is what I'm thinking about doing. And then we'd go with that, or we'd adapt it slightly, or go with what he thought. And it's all about being flexible, not being pig-headed, being willing to accept help, and having an expert in every field. I think, I've got irrigation experts with Abbott's, MJ Abbott they're called, Adrian Abbott and Jim Price, two guys that we've had on our own podcast, probably the two most knowledgeable irrigation guys in the land. Top ecologists, drainage experts, top machinery guys, so everyone comes together in this big pot. So you don't do it yourself. I wouldn't be as stupid to even kind of claim any credit for that. But and for me, the biggest planning part was making sure the team were happy, making sure they were well fed. Everyone, I had all the lads that stayed. So we went from a team from 12 up to 50. And I handpicked people from around the country. And let's be honest, yeah, they were all my friends. I wanted people that I could trust. Some people might not agree with that, because they might feel that it wasn't inclusive to all ranges of people. But my first year in the job, my first Open, I wanted people that I knew really well, people that would walk through a wall for us, and people that would never let me down, and be on time and work hard. So that's why I picked the team that I did, and they were great. And there were actually assistants, deputies, and course managers. So we did have we went for every kind of level of that, and it was a brilliant team. But the best thing about it is we decided to put a competition out to get 3 apprentices, because I do a lot with education, and as we were talking about, I love to kind of give back. And I wanted 3 youngsters in to hand cut, actually, not just to do menial tasks like divoting. I wanted them into hand cut. Very important job. So we put this competition out on Twitter for 5 questions. I think they were like, please give me an example of sustainability on your golf course. Tell me what your favorite machine is, that kind of thing. And the last question was a joke. It was like, if we're having a party later on after the Sunday, what song are you going to ask the DJ to play? And we got rid of all their names off the Google sheet and all their golf clubs. There was no prejudice. I wanted just to pick the best answers, and we rated them all. I rated them all. And the 3 guys we picked, we got a guy called Max from Prestwick. We got a guy from a golf course near Norwich, and a guy from Milton Keynes. And they were unbelievable, these 3. And I saw Max last week at a live event where he was volunteering again. Sam, he got to he's on FTMI now, which is another level of education, and he's been promoted to first assistant. And the other lad's smashing it down at another golf course down in Parkstone in England. So everyone's done better since doing that, and these guys came, they integrated well, and they hand cut all week. They were a huge part of the team, and the most wholesome, heartwarming thing for me is to walk into a pub in Harrogate, which is where we have our GIS essentially for you guys, in January, and the three of them were sitting together. They'd got in touch and got together again.
Nice.
That's awesome.
It was amazing, like the top bloke. So that was one of the coolest things we did. So the guys, we had all their bunker bins. They stayed in porta cabins that were well kitted out, and we also had a member of staff from each Open team as well that came and helped. And this year we gave Troon, one of our guys, Luke, went up and helped in Troon. So the Open family is a family. It's a great community. All the course managers know each other well, and we all get on super, and we all meet up once a year. So that's being part of that is an amazing thing for me as well, and I love that. I really love that, and the great guys to turn to. And that's another part of having an expert or a specialist in every field, is having these guys as well, because you can turn to them and ask. Like, look, Billy, who's just hosted the Open, 6 Opens he's done. And the funny thing is, each Open course manager goes to the next place and shadows the course manager there. So I shadowed Sandy Reid from St Andrews, which was brilliant, the year I did it. And then Billy from Troon, who's done 6 Opens, came and shadowed me last year. And I was like, Billy, I'm not going to patronize you by, you can just do what you want. If you want to come and walk around with us, you're more than welcome. But I think you know what you're doing. There's no problem there. He's the nicest guy in greenkeeping, and he's absolutely brilliant. But the greatest thing about it now is two of my really great friends, Greg Easton, who is at Royal St George's now as a course manager. He was my deputy at Royal Cinqueport, so he's part of the Open family now. And Sean McLean, who was at Prince's beside me at Royal Cinqueports, is now at Birkdale. So these guys will be hosting Open soon. Sean in 2 years' time, and Graham Beat next year at Royal Portrush. All 10 out of 10 blokes, and without being too gushy, it's a really nice family to be part of. So the Open week itself, fairly stress-free, because all the plans were in place. Everyone worked and did everything they were meant to. We were getting the results. Weather dependent, we didn't get the firmness that we were looking for. You guys use Clegg hammers across there?
Yeah, something
Firmness.
similar to it. Some guys use the ball and chain. Some guys are using the GS3. Some are using
So
something
that'll
similar to a
measure the
Clegg.
ball and chain.
Yeah.
Yeah, measures like the actual depth of the impact. Well, a Clegg hammer is like a decelerometer, so it measures the deceleration for when it hits the ground. So we were looking for, it's measured in gravities, and we were looking for a firmness of about 140 gravities. And St Andrews, the year of the firm open where Cam Smith won, they were about 140, 150. So the Army kind of really wanted that, but never in a million years were we achieving that, because it rained quite a lot. I mean, we had stressful moments going through May and June where it didn't rain at all. So I was basically using all my water to try and keep the golf course healthy and green, essentially, because what we didn't want to do was burn it out too early in May and June, which it would have been. Then it does rain and it starts to come back, because when you're burning a links golf course out from green to brown, it goes nice. It goes a nice color. It burns out evenly. But then when it comes back from brown to green, it comes back in patches. It looks like a camouflage quilt. So we certainly didn't want that. So we tried to keep it as green as possible. And by that, I was putting on 500 cubic meters of water a night, which is a full, huge irrigation tank, which is my maximum I'm allowed to do. And I was working out graphs. Right, if I keep doing this, when am I going to run out? And we were looking at running out about the 12th of July, like a week before the Open, like completely running out of water. But then the heavens opened at the start of July, and it didn't really stop raining. And it's rained for a full year, actually. I mean, it's rained solidly for a full year. It's broken every record in Britain. The weather for the championship itself was good. Thursday, Friday, brilliant. People out in the sun enjoying it. Saturday, Friday night, horrendous. So much rain, an inch of rain Friday night, an inch of rain, and an inch and a half on Sunday. Not a puddle on the golf course, which is unbelievable. We had squeegees on every green, not needed. And so you see, I mean, I still get PTSD from the Sunday. Uh, I mean, it wasn't, if I'm being brutally honest, and we say this podcast is about being honest, which I'm all into. I was really kind of heartbroken by the Sunday's weather, and you dream of like I guess like you dream of your day where you get to stand on the 18th green at the championship table with I mean, I wanted Tommy Fleetwood as a winner. I was desperate for Tommy to win. Nicest guy on the planet, my favorite golfer. Uh, and Brian Harman, complete deserved winner. But all I can remember from that prize presentation is just the rain coming down, the crowds emptying from the 18th grandstand because the weather was that bad, and I was just getting hit in the face by Rob McBurney, the chair of the championship committee's umbrella for the whole thing, which was doing my head in. But it was just, but on the flip side of that, unbelievable experience. Got to sit in the cabin, where they sit and phone their wives before it. I mean, I was literally standing here. Martin Slumbers was coming out with a claret jug. Brian's sitting on his sofa phoning his missus. John Ram comes in, congratulates him. And the funny, after the prize giving presentation, this was one of my kind of favorite parts I always remember. I had to go down to the players' clubhouse for not the clubhouse, but the players' clubhouse that they built, which is the most extravagant place on the planet for golf. And it was so wet, I went in like a drowned rat. My hair was slick and I was just soaked. And and coming out of the place was John Ram. He handed me his umbrella and he says, "It looks like you're going to need that." And I was like, "What? I'm going inside. You're coming out. You're going to need that." But I took it anyway. So I had
Nice.
I had a lovely, as John Ram walked off on his own into the peeing wet rain, I had a lovely new Callaway umbrella, which was nice. But Brian Harmon was super nice. He kept on just saying all the time, he's like, "Man, I got no idea how you do that shit." That's what he said all the time. We were, he just loved the condition of the course, but it was impeccable. It was really great. We got a hammer in for the bunkers. I don't know if you watched much of it, but we decided, well, the R&A wanted the bunkers to be really penal because they're not deep here. They're not deep bunkers, they're 4 feet bunkers, some of them. And they wanted the bases to be quite angular at 90 degrees, so balls get trapped right in. Whereas the troon bunkers are really deep, so you can have a bowl because you want the ball to come back to the middle. Otherwise, it'd be unplayable. But it was kind of a bit too tough for them in the first day, so we changed some of the angles in the bunkers. And these things are like, when we said to the team about that, not a single complaint. The boys, yeah, no problem, we'll do that. The boys would have done anything. And we returned to bunkers to make sure they were perfect. People argue bunkers, they're supposed to be penal, they're supposed to be it's a hazard. Why would you want them perfect? But we set the golf course up absolutely perfect. There was bunkers that we returned to because we were like, the rake marks were a bit toothy. They were just a bit deep. We wanted them a certain depth, and the rake marks need to aim at the pin. These are like aiming at the right of the green a little bit. Let's turn them round. And like, honestly, I'd never seen a golf course presented like that in my life, and it just shows you what you can do with 50 members of staff and guys with great attitudes. And we loved it, and we all partied away on the Sunday night. And kind of the biggest question folk would say to us afterwards is, "Oh, you must have had a long lie on the Monday." But nah, I never slept a wink the whole week. Never slept a wink. I was in bed at 11 o'clock midnight every night, and I was awake all night till 3 in the morning, seeing every hour. You couldn't sleep, A, for the fear of not waking up or missing your alarm because you were that tired. B, you were buzzing, you were thinking about things. There was one night in particular where we decided our 15th green, Little Eye, the famous hole in the corner, the controversial one, according to some people, even though it's not really. And we can talk about that later. But I've got 3 greens that I manage differently here because they're newer, so they need more fertilizer, and more water, and we literally cut that at a mile higher as well to get the same speed of 10.5 feet. So we decided we're going to put water on it tonight. We're going to put 3 mil of water on, and we're going to put it on at 3 o'clock in the morning. And by that time, it'll be, or sorry, at midnight or whatever, 1 o'clock, I can't remember. But we had made these AstroTurf caps for the heads on bits of ply, because it's such a small green. It's only 300 square meters, and if in case a ball hits the sprinkler head, it needed to be dampened, and obviously hide them from the cameras. So I was lying in bed, 11 o'clock, and I was like, oh God, I've got these caps. And I knew the irrigation head would just pop up and it would just probably move the cap away. But in my head, I was like, but what happens if it doesn't? What happens if the green floods or this, and thinking all the work. Like, back in the truck, back up, past security. What are you doing? Because the security don't know you from Adam. There's always a fight against security at the Open as well, because they're people that don't know anything about golf either. So that the minute you've driven a truck across that site, even if you've got your pass, they want to rugby tackle you, or half of them are sleeping, to be fair. So to move these caps off and then get back to bed, and I remember that morning was the worst, because I stand up in front of 50 guys in the morning and try and whirl them up and excite them about the day coming ahead and motivate them, when you just want to lie under your desk and sleep, was tough. And I think the hardest thing for hosting, and the guys listening to this that have done PGA Tour events, I'm sure, and the sleep thing is just brutal. It's absolutely brutal. So like, I don't look forward to that again. But yeah, I mean, since then I've done loads of public speaking. I've talked at primary schools. I've talked at Harrogate conferences, and I was lucky enough to talk in Phoenix at GIS this year. So that felt like the end of my Open journey, to be honest with you.
Little media tour after the tournament, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's an incredible story, James. We really appreciate you, sharing all that with us, and I'm sure there's a lot more we can definitely unpack. And I wanted to mention, my cousin and uncle both went to the tournament last year. They flew from Canada and spent a week over there, and they had nothing but amazing things to say about the whole property, the clubhouse for sure, the conditions of the golf course. Obviously, they wore their rain suits the whole time they were there, but that was just part of the links experience and being over there. And from one greenkeeper to another, I really appreciate you putting that on the team. There's obviously a lot of people that came together to be able to make that a success, but at the end of the day, it was your name that was on TV, and you were the one with the experience and the network to be able to bring that together. So you definitely, you do owe yourself a pat on the back, and I'm sure there's times when you do look back on that and smile and know that you did have a big part. So from us to you, we really appreciate everything you do, and we're excited to see where you kind of go next. And that's kind of what I wanted to ask you. It was a big success for you. Is there anything that you're going to kind of take from that experience to the next one?
I think people ask me that a lot, and I think people think the second you finish something like that, what job are you going to do next? And if I had a pound or a dollar for every time someone says to me, "Oh, you'll be going to work in America now, won't you?" And I'm like, "No, it's not as easy as that." And like, it doesn't ever happen like that. People seem to think that's the process, that you do that and you get your big shot in America. But I owe it to my family now to hang around here, and my kids are settled in school. I've got a lot I want to do here. I want to get out of this office. I want to build a purpose-built building across there, where it's away from my house, where we have the whole team together. I feel quite separated here, and I don't think that's good for team morale. I think I need to be more part of that. And the golf course, we've got really exciting projects coming across, and hopefully in the municipal course, which is across the railway line. We have a range across there, so our range on the course here gets turned into the tented village, and we take over another golf course which is now closed down across the railway line, and that's got potential to develop into something that we might be part of. Well, the Open needs that, and the council need the Open, the community need the Open to be able to not survive, but to be able to grow, and the area needs the Open, we all do. So that can't fail. So something will develop across there, and I'm excited about being a part of that. So yeah, for me, this is a good place to be just now. I ain't thinking about moving. I'm not thinking about anything else. I want to kind of keep learning. I'd love to. I'm actually speaking to Graham Roberts. I think one of the kind of big bucket list tick jobs. I really want to do the US Open at Pinehurst when it comes around. Again, I think is that in 28 or something, 29 maybe.
Yeah, playing.
Loved watching that this year with Bryson. I think that's one of my favourite looking golf courses. It's the way a golf course should be, and I think that'd be a great experience. And yeah, just keep making this place better. I think that's the big thing. No other big plans apart from that. It's such a boring answer. I'm sorry, but
You just mentioned Pinehurst. I was just with John on that number two about 2 or 3 days ago, and was talking to him about the teardown and how he thought that was probably the hardest part of the entire championship. Was that a similar experience for you?
it wasn't too bad. You know, the people that build and tear it down, I've never in my life seen a group of guys that work as hard. They're animals, absolute animals. They work from 6 o'clock in the morning till 6 at night, non-stop. I mean, they're ripped because they're just carrying scaffolding poles all the time. They don't have a dad bod like me, but and there are a lot of bolts left and cable ties everywhere, you know, afterwards. But we have a magnet that goes around on a little buggy that pick all the bolts up, and yeah, there's a lot of scarring, but a bit overseeding and the kind of wet autumn and wet spring we've had. The course you can't tell it's held and open at all. Uh, Even outside my house, I've got a 3 hectare field, I've got some flags on it just now. That was what they call the contractors compound. So that had all the areas for where the lads meet in the morning for the scaffolding, the tents, the security, the bins, everything you don't see on the areas where people go to build everything. So they're kind of headquarters. That's out my back garden. And now I mean, I've got a robot out there cutting that just now, an inch and a half, and it's a fescue field with some flags on it, and we use it as a turf nursery, and that's all recovered well. So the teardown was fine, and I spoke to Billy from Troon half an hour ago on the phone. Billy was saying that his is fine as well. The Sunday of the Open, round about the 18th grandstand, looked like Glastonbury. You know, it was mud. It was mud everywhere, but like vetted rain and an overseed and a wee bit of fertilizer, and she comes back. So it's not been too bad, but you wouldn't believe what they build here. I mean, it's fascinating.
We don't want to keep you all day, James, but you definitely have some awesome stories to get into here. I wanted to ask you about a couple of them. Why don't you tell us about your first day greenkeeping?
I was sent down at Dumfries and Galway Golf Club to the trees at the first tee, and I've never used a strimmer before. What do you call it? A weed whacker? What do you guys call it? And the boss showed me how to do it and stuff. And he said, "I lay and strim round them trees." So I remember around about the trees there was a load of kind of grey dust, but I didn't think anything of it. I thought maybe fertilizer or what, I can't remember. Anyway, so I started strimming, and it was all going in my mouth and my hair. And it was not till later on that day that I found out it was famous Queen of the South and Scotland goalkeeper Roy Henderson, who, if you Google him, he was quite a big deal back in the 70s, I think. But his ashes were scattered below that tree. So yeah,
Welcome to the
bit of an
team.
awkward one. Yeah, yeah. So
Carrying a
I've
piece with him,
got a bit
carrying a
of me
piece of him
inside
all
of
over.
that. I don't
That's
think
funny.
he's not made me a better football player. But I think I was lucky to grow up in that golf course. I had so many great stories, you know, and I always remember as well the time where there was a legendary old boy that's still kicking about at the Galloway Golf Club, George Clark, and I remember he was cutting the first green with it was a Ransom's Auto Series, and I don't know if you've ever familiar with one of these, but it's a mower made in England. It's just a little 21-inch mower where it's like a handlebar, and you have a clutch, so it goes when you let the clutch out, it goes, and it'll go until you pull the clutch in, and that's how you slow it. It's the other way around. No dead man's handle, so it's the opposite way to what mowers work these days. And George got hit square in the forehead on the first green as he was coming down the first green, pointing towards the first tee, and it knocked him out clean on the green. I watched it happen. So I run over to him as the mower kept on cutting a 5 mil strip down a 15 mil fairway all the way to the tee. And it made it the whole way as well. And the grass must have been pouring over the box, but poor George had to take him up to hospital. He had a big egg in his head.
Sounds like the mower was going for a little revenge, was heading after that tee.
I heading after the well, it would just have missed the person that hit him as well. So, but some machines them and do you know what? You'll not believe this, but I played golf at the Galloway a week ago, 2 weeks ago, before the Open with Sean from Birkdale. We played in a little doubles competition there because I'm a member there now, which is amazing. They actually, on a back note from that, they made me after the Open, they made me an honorary member, which was the nicest thing
Wow.
anyone's ever done. I was blown away by it. I still can't believe it. Actually, really proud to be affiliated with them now, which is cool. But Sean and I from Birkdale played a doubles tournament there, and we were about to tee off in the first tee, and it was 7:30 in the morning, and I could hear this noise. And behind the first tee was a bowling green, a bowls green, for old people throwing bowls. Uh, and I could hear this noise, this engine. I said, Sean, that sounds familiar. And I looked over the hedge, and it was that Ransom's Super 30s mower still kicking about.
Nice.
They must have the bowling green, and the guy was going up and down. And Sean was like, Bledge, you don't want to play this, do you? You want to just go and cut that bowling green. And I tell you, I would have been happy as Larry. I'd have been cutting that all day and all night because they were the easiest. We have all these high tech, fancy electric mowers now, but the most fun mowers ever to use were these simple 1980s, 1990s Ransoms things that were bloody brilliant. So have a wee Google of that. Ransom's Super 30s.
One of the things that shocked me that you said earlier, James, is that your golf course has a lot of potential. I mean, here you are hosting the Open Championship and you're giving it a 6-7. I think most superintendents tend to find a lot of the faults in the golf course instead of the things that are going right. But what are some of the areas that you think can be improved upon at your golf course?
It might be quite a controversial answer, and probably a lot of my members won't listen to this, but we play a different routing, as you guys would say, where we play our first hole is the third hole in the Open. So in the Open, they play 17 and 18 first, and they are two of I wouldn't say worst, but they're not the best of the 18 holes on the golf course. They're very good first and second holes, I believe. I love the Open routing I believe is the best routing. But the members love the third is the first, which they're playing just now. And they love the 16th, the 18th in the Open is the 16th. This is probably sounds absolute Swahili to you just now. But the third hole at Hoylake, the members one, is the toughest first hole in golf. It's a dog leg right, almost 90 degrees. It's like 100, 110 degrees or whatever, around an internal out of bounds into the prevailing wind. So your rescue club 4-iron. It's a 4-iron, 4-iron. It's a really, really difficult hole. That's why Hoylake's so famous, is because that's the first hole. So if you could still make that the first hole and still have 16 as 18, and maybe potentially move these other two holes on as 17, 18 and build a couple of holes elsewhere, then I think it's worthwhile investigating. If we can change the course a little bit in the future, there's a potential to make it a little bit better. And this won't be a thing that will happen in the next few years. This could be 10, 15 years down the line. But I think we all progress, and it's our forefathers did before us. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had the course we have just now. I don't really believe in standing still. But at the same time, we need to think really carefully about what we do, is not to ruin what we've got. But I would like to explore other things, how we could make things better, building new tees, shifting bunkers, making it a bit more strategic, widening fairways in certain areas to make it a little bit more playable, making the rough a bit better. There's too penal in areas, so we've got a lot of work to do in the rough. And the greens as well, I've got 3 different sets of greens that all percolate at different speeds. I've got greens that percolate at 60 millimeters an hour. I've got greens that percolate. I've got a root zone of like at a certain level, it perks at 4 and 5 millimeter an hour. So they're a lot stodgier than the rest. So yeah, I think getting more consistency, improving the ecology, there's a life's work here without a doubt. We can move like our 14th hole, we can move that to extend the range to make it longer. I mean, there's a plethora of things we can do to make it better. I mean, the holes in the dunes might be too far, but I think you've got to dream big, I guess, and it all comes down to money at the end of the day as well. And it's something like, I mean, we don't have an open checkbook here, that's for sure. But uh, improving the education of the team, improving the chance of getting better apprentices in future or more people coming into our industry. I want to kind of help work towards that as well. And my wife Jenny, actually, she works for Bigger and she does the first green. You guys have got first green GCSAA as well. So Jenny does the British side of it, and we work together with the schools, bringing the schools in here, and we're doing another school visit in September. So want to really push that as well, and that's irrespective of whether Jenny does it or not. We would still be doing it if Jenny didn't lead up the field in Britain for that. And I think it's not just on the course where it could be changes. I think there's everywhere, but these are just kind of ideas, and everyone talks about it at the club. We all talk about the routing, whether it's better open routing or member routing.
Are you guys looking at a master plan?
We've got a minor master plan, which doesn't include that. The minor master plan is things like building, extending tees, just monotonous stuff that you don't really need to go to the board about. Sand scrapes. We do a lot of sand scrapes. I was with Natural England and Cheshire Wildlife Trust today, so they are two kind of governing bodies, and we're looking at areas where we can build new natterjack toad ponds. So we have a natterjack toad community here, which is a very rare toad. It's something like this, kind of the size of your thumb. Seen a few today actually, and there was kind of a big deal during the Open about this. And there was a toad that jumped on one of the greens, and there was all hell broke loose. And but it was actually a common toad. It wasn't an natterjack that happened. But yeah, they're very endangered, and we kind of, as part of it as well as looking after the golf course. We're custodians of the land, and we need to make sure that the ecology is well looked after as well, because I think wildflowers, habitat, everything needs to get better, and we're working towards that as well. But yeah.
That's awesome. Well, things are always changing in our industry, right? So it's important that we're able to adapt. And we have a lot of younger folks that listen to us, people that are going to school or getting into school or have just come out of school and are in their first jobs and stuff. And I would love for you just to talk about, what advice you would kind of give some people in those roles, whether they're, wherever they are in the world, just about going to school and about furthering their career. Just from you to them, what would you kind of say?
I think it's important to have a mentor. I think grab yourself someone in the industry, and you don't necessarily have to know that person. I think if you see someone on even on Instagram or whatever that's a really good course manager that might live near you, that you could offer you some time. I mean, never be afraid to ask for help. Think about what skill set you need to be able to get to where you want to, and build a realistic goal. It's definitely doable, and never be kind of like too pig-headed enough to think you can do everything on your own. Have someone that can help you in every field, and ask loads of questions. And I've got a greenkeepers WhatsApp group, which is like a big. I don't know if you do WhatsApp across the pond as much,
We
but
do, yeah.
it's basically a texting group, so we can have. I've got 20 greenkeeper friends in there, and we chat all day. Sometimes if it's nonsense, but quite often it'll be asking for recommendations about how to deal with a certain weed or disease, or asking about machines. So get yourself these groups together, and share ideas. I love Twitter for stealing ideas off people. My golf course here, our golf course, is just a rip-off. My Royal Cinque Ports was a rip-off of other golf courses. I play quite a bit of golf. I love to go about. I'm not ashamed of saying that I go and play other golf courses, because that's where you get the ideas. I played Troon Country Club in Phoenix, Scottsdale, a course that's polar opposite to ours, and came away with a dozen ideas, of which one, for example, you might see it on my Twitter if you look back a bit to February, the range plate that says all the yardages. I took a picture of it and made an absolute carbon copy of it, and it's really, really cool, and it gets loads of comments. And how can you better your golf course if you don't go and look at other golf courses and play your own golf course? I think Joe Gallotti, who you'll know, really loved it when I went on his podcast and said, a good chef always tastes his own food. And I believe that as well. You need to play your own golf course, because how it's a difference between working on it and playing on it. You see things, you see different parts of the golf course if you play it than what you work. Quite often, I'll make the plan for the week. I'll go out and play the golf course, and I'll come and scrap the plan for the week and then start again. But yeah, and I think kind of probably off the beaten track a little bit here, but the for any kids, try and get experience in all uh, different golf courses and get the bad experiences. I can't sit here and say that I've just had a charmed life all the time. I've sacrificed a lot. I left home when all my friends were having a great laugh and having a great time, and I was homesick for 7, 8 years solid. Always thinking about Dumfries, where I'm from, and longing to get back there. And like, it was heartbreaking at times. I really, really took it bad. I missed my parents. I missed my best mates. I missed out on them growing up. But on the flip side of that, I met a whole load of new cool people who I'm still friends with now. I mean, to literally know thousands of people that I'd pretty much say I keep in contact really well with a lot of them, and social media helps with that. Get yourself out there and experience the bad. Have the bad bosses, because you'll never understand what a good boss is. You got to learn from the bad ones as well as the good ones. I've had a couple of shockers, and I'll never do the same things they've done. But I've had some great bosses, and I'll copy all their good traits. So it's not healthy to have great experiences all the time. So when you are going through a bad experience, don't worry about it. It will end. You will come out. It might feel like a jail sentence, but you will come out of it, and you'll be a better person for it. I think I went through 3 really bad years, and that's not Lee's fault working at G West, but it wasn't a great time to be working round about then during that recession and building a golf course in some of the worst weather, and doing some horrendously monotonous jobs. And I was actually one of the luckier ones, because Lee had me doing a lot of the tractor work, because I was quite handy in a tractor. I mean, there was guys power harrow in a fairway, or stone bury in a fairway with stones, and you look out and it was peeing down outside, and I look, get in my lovely warm trap, rub the steam away, and there's 10 other guys hand picking the stones out the fairway, and I think, actually, I'm quite lucky. But I did a fair share of that as well. I did. I've kind of done all that as well. But it's take the rough with the smooth, I think it's probably what I'm trying to say.
It's great advice. Is it as challenging over there to find staff right now?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, we are obviously working on it. Wages, I think, for a lot of golf clubs is a problem in Britain. People can go and get paid the same for being, or more for being, an Amazon delivery driver, and they don't have to get up in the morning. I think, and I'm not scared to say it, but the culture in Britain now is a lot different with kids. They're not the same as what they were when I grew up. And that sounds really old-fashioned to say that, but like they've got it a lot different. I like it, and I see it in my own kids. They'd rather slouch in front of a tablet and watch crap on YouTube than get out there. When I was a wee boy, I was out fishing, I was out climbing trees, I was out playing football, playing golf, smashing windows with golf balls, and out on my bike. And my mum just used to open the door and say, "Right, that's you. See you later." And I'd be out at 9 in the morning. She'd see me again at 5 at night. Someone else's problem. It's a different world now. But I've got to really, really entice my kids just to get out of the house. Come on, you need to get out. And it's a shame. And I feel that's the same in society all the way through. But we are trying, and this first screen thing is hopefully a step in the right direction. And like some of the kind of the way the kids have been in the schools has been really refreshing, actually. And some of the questions I've asked have kind of given me a little bit of hope that it's the start of the journey on this, and hopefully in 10 years' time, everyone will know about greenkeeping. Everyone will know how great a profession it is. And it's not just cutting grass. There's routes to go down in mechanics, irrigation, design. I mean, the whole autonomous mower thing that we've got going now. I've got 3 robots here. How cool is that, to be able to entice kids in to say, I run from my phone, I run my irrigation system, my rainbow irrigation system, where I can pop up any of my 1,500 heads at any time, change all the percentages at any time. I can bring the robot out. I can use my moisture meter to check the green, so I can dial up or down the irrigation that's going on that night. And that's just scratching the surface. We have apps now that do all sorts of things. So it's a different job. And whenever I bring any of my members up to the shed now and they see the technology, they're really blown away. I mean, we have got mowers now that you can adjust the clip rate on an app whilst you're mowing, and I find that absolutely fascinating. And I'm all for it, to be honest. I love the way the technology is helping us now. It keeps me interested.
It's crazy. Eh? You're going to have a tech working at the golf course soon, not a mechanic. It's all changing.
Actually, there was a job, I think, in Germany advertised a few weeks ago that said that exactly what you've just said. It was golf course technician, and the job description was to look after the robots and manage all the software and the apps. There was nothing in it about agronomy. It was all about that. And then here, myself and Peter's my irrigation tech. We are the robot boys, like, so we look after the robots. And I'm going to try and push it on the rest of the team soon. They don't know this yet. They will if they listen to this podcast. But a couple of
Get
them
ready,
would like
boys.
yeah. I think it scares a few of them, and sometimes they maybe think, oh, our jobs are at risk, but it's not the case. It just means, like, for example, this morning, I raked and blew all the divots off the range tee whilst the Sciora, the robot, cut it, and I can sit there and dial the height of cut up and down by a millimeter just at one press, and it does it. And whilst it does that, I can blow behind it if it's dewy, and it's a job done, and it saves you bringing out another noisy mower that's using diesel. Uh, and yeah, I really love having the robots. I've become quite attached to them, actually, and I've quite often find myself going on the app and just seeing where the girls are just now. It's I have this kind of app here where I've got one parked up, one's mowing, and the other one's parked up, and you can see my bottom one's called Robo Chop.
Nice.
I was going to ask if you gave them all names.
Well, I've got the captain's going to do a competition to name for the members to name one of them, and we're going to give the kids at the school a chance to name the other one. But I don't know if you've got Husqvarnas across in the States or Canada, but
Hmm.
I mean the app is so good. It's super easy to use. It's actually blowing my mind how good it is. It really is, and we've got them on areas that we can just put out, and we don't have to worry about. And these are areas where we'd usually be cutting once a week. Now we're cutting them 3, 4 times a week, and the turf quality is exceptional. It's just taking the tips off. And yeah, we've got a couple of beacons up, so looking to kind of expand them elsewhere. But Sean at Birkdale and Chris at Hillside are looking at cutting fairways once a week with them, and then using the cylinder more at the end of the week just to kind of, so they still got a roll and they still get to get that presentation, which they don't, the Sierra, it doesn't give you, because they stripe with wheels essentially. So yeah, but all these things kind of, greenkeeping's evolving at a rate of knots, and it's I'm here for it, really.
Awesome. Well, same with us. We're trying our best to put the industry in the right light and be able to promote it and showcase everybody's work. So the more we can do to try and put people into the industry, we can. And if there's anything we can do to support you, James, with what you got going on there, definitely reach out and let us know, because we'd love to help. And anytime we meet somebody as humble as you, it's it's easy for us to do things to try and help you out. So appreciate you coming on today. If there's anything else you wanted to plug or talk about, the floor is definitely yours. But if not, we'll let you get back to whatever it is you're going to do. Go out on the course, work, play, go see the kids. It sounds like you got some great options.
Football training tonight. Yeah, I've got to take the kids to football training. But one thing I'd like to just say is, I mean, how great podcasts are. I love doing our podcast. So if anyone wants to listen, it's Golf Badgers, and that's my friend Sam Cooper, who's an architect. So we kind of have a blend of him not knowing much about greenkeeping and me not knowing much about architecture, but we kind of educating each other, and we're learning. He's actually getting really quite proficient in it now. And we have some great guests on, which will be fun. And it's about 30 odd episodes. But I just think I always encourage people to listen to podcasts, because your one's great, the Joe Gallotti one's great, Talking Greenkeeper. We've got my Talking Greenkeeper sticker here on my printer.
Nice.
But and I should put one on. I should put one on one of the robots, actually. But the what a great way to educate people when you're sitting listening to these, educate, motivate, and and inform people about how great this is, and I well done to you guys for doing a podcast as well. I mean, they're super fun and they pass the time. I love I love the guy listening to music or podcasts when they're out cutting fairways because I mean it can be a monotonous job, and if you can sit and learn whilst cutting a fairway, then it's a good thing. So thank you.
Yeah, great to meet you here on the podcast via Zoom here, and hopefully we can cross paths at some time down the road.
I'm hoping if I can manage my budget well enough this year, I might be able to get a trip out to San Diego to the GIS at the end of the year.
Beautiful,
So
There we
guys
go.
are there, then
beautiful. Hopefully we'll see you there.
yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Thanks very much for inviting me on. I'm honored to be asked. So it's nice to be thought of.
Well, thank you for joining us today. This has been really good. I think there's a lot about your story people don't know about, so we're really grateful. We're the ones we get to put it out, and if there's anything that comes up between now and Tuesday, just let us know.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, James. Good to see you.
Take care, James. It was really nice meeting you.
Okay. Bye bye.
Man, he was good.
Yeah, another great episode. That was phenomenal. Probably could have sat there and talked to him for another hour.
Oh yeah, like he probably got the time too. Like being on the course like that. Maybe I never picked that up that you did that as well, but I've heard of greenskeepers and families and superintendents living on the course and being that connected to the golf course, and it blows me away. There
Yeah,
are a lot of positives. There would be some negatives, but it's talk about being fully immersed in your job.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like he was saying, there are some positives and negatives out of it. I mean, you can never truly get away when you're living on the golf course. So
Yeah, they know where
when
you
there's
are.
an issue, yeah, that's it. When there's an issue, you're right there. The more I go around, I'm starting to see more assistants and interns living on property
Hmm.
with the director or the superintendent being offsite a little bit more frequently. But it's also one of those perks of certain jobs is your housing's taken care of.
Right.
So that's a huge benefit in your overall package that some people really really like. And like you said too, I mean, just if you're a golfer, the ability to go out and play. We used to have growing up, we used to have a 3-hole loop, 3 and 5-hole loop that my dad and I, when he'd get home late at night, we'd just go play the 3-hole loop or whatever and come back, grab dinner, and maybe go chip and putt, one of the holes in the backyard. So it's nice. It's definitely a nice bonus for some people.
Yeah, and talk about raising your kids in an amazing environment too. Like they're gonna be
Yeah.
hard-working kids when they're older, I'm sure, growing up around that.
Yeah. No, I look back on my time growing up, living there, one of the top facilities in the country, and just took it for granted. So hopefully his kids eventually figure it out and take full advantage and appreciate it.
Well, I'm sure those are great memories either way, right? Like great memories of you and your dad and your family and stuff. Like
Oh yeah.
you can't go out and pay for stuff like that. Like those are things that are solidified in you.
Yep, 100%. Probably like you and your dad going out on the ice rink or something, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, up here the ponds would just freeze and we just go out on the pond on the golf course and
There's that.
shovel it off and bring out a net and yeah, we'd spend the whole day out there. I remember we'd bring like a little cooler full of food and water and stuff and yeah, you just spend the whole day out there. You just skate till you're dead
He,
tired.
he didn't take you into the arena from time to time, let you skate around the arena.
Yeah, oh yeah, we definitely would do that for
Okay.
sure. But no, like as a kid growing up, you want to be out on the pond. There was
Yeah.
so much that's so nostalgic. And we lived on a golf course. There was a gentleman that would come out and he would pump one of the big ponds on number 8. It was a par 3. You'd have to hit over the water. So like the area was wide open for a skating rink and he'd come out and he would just cut a hole in the ice and pump and flood pretty much that whole pond and have an area for people to skate and then we'd set up two
Oh, that's
nets and
cool.
yeah, it was really well done. I don't think they still do it out there. I could be wrong, but it was a really cool, similar to you or to James, like just that nostalgia. You just think back on being a kid, and it's funny how I have those memories of being on the golf course, even though it was the dead of winter.
I was gonna say, yeah, you didn't even really start playing until you started traveling, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah,
crazy. That's
Cool to
crazy.
have those
Yeah.
memories as a kid, though, right? Like it's as parents
Yeah.
now, you think about it and you're like you're creating these memories right now as we speak. So it's a crazy thing to see how much of an impact it will have.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, a great episode. He mentioned the first screen. I think that's one of the greatest programs out there. So really cool to hear his wife Jenny's a part of that and doing that over across the pond. I mean, it's just a great way to introduce kids and the ones that I've been a part of, even more so introducing the parents and the teachers.
Hmm.
They just have no idea and they come out and they see it and they see the STEM learning there on a golf course. It's just mind blowing, the applications. So hopefully that program really does open some eyes and open some doors for new people into the industry.
100%. And if you have a passion for golf, I don't know if there's another sport where you can work on the maintenance side of the sport and have such a big impact and be so involved in the sport as a career. So
Yeah,
it's very unique, and the more people that can find out about it, the better. And if you're listening to the show and you have no idea what first green is, we highly suggest Googling that, looking that up, and seeing if that's something you could attend or maybe bring to your association or your area, because they're looking to expand and they want to help and get the message out. So definitely something to look into.
absolutely.
All right, buddy.
Good
Well,
stuff.
why don't you throw the air conditioning on there?
God, I'm dying.
I'm gonna go upstairs and open the door.
Yeah.
Oh man, this
Uh,
uh,
awesome.
this was great.
Awesome. All right, man. Good job.
Okay, you
As
too.
always.
Yeah,
All right. Thanks,
chat
dude. We'll
soon.
talk soon.
Thank you guys as always for stopping in. We couldn't do it without you guys. All the ratings, all the reviews you leave us is perfect. It's really helping. If you can go out of your way, take a couple minutes and do it. When you leave a rating too on Apple Podcasts, a lot of people don't know this. You don't have to use your own name. You can use a fake screen name. It's very easy. They prompt you right away when you go in there to do that. So don't feel like you have to use your own name. You can just say whatever you want. It can be under a screen name. And yeah. But anything helps us. We want to be able to get those things out there and show that this show can help the industry. We want to find people that are struggling with their greenkeeping and want to learn more or feel like they're more connected to a community or have a place to be able to ask questions. It's all good stuff, right? We want to thank Toro as well, our fantastic sponsors. We can't do it without you guys. Everything you do for us is so appreciated, and we have a lot more coming with them, including a couple secret drops. There's a couple fun things coming, a couple products in the making with them right now that they were talking to us about. We will be a part of their launch when it comes to a certain, I can't even say it right now. Well, we'll hold on to a teaser maybe for another time. How about that? For today, we'll say keep those reels sharp. We'll see you guys next week.